You said something really interesting. I think there's a misconception about having a real estate team. I think that top producers, and not even top producers, their aspirations are all around building a team because they think it's going to make them multimillionaires. And, for all of the team leaders that I've spoken to, that just isn't the case. They've all told me, well, I made more money when I was solo. And you have to really, really love people and want to mentor people and help people to be a team leader. And maybe, do you think that that's why most teams fail?
Yeah. And also, I don't think they're running them properly. I can tell you from really hands-on experience that almost nobody in the province of Quebec, save and except for a couple of great teams, if you're listening, you know who you are. But if there are some people that run it well, but the majority of people really don't run a team very well. It's done very selfishly.
This is everything they never told you about real estate with the AI queen, Carrie Soave, sharing the tech, tools, and lead gen strategies that top producers won't tell you about. Now, here's your host, Carrie.
Welcome back, everybody, to the podcast. So I have a question for everyone. What do you get when you cross a metal musician, a theater geek, and a top 1% real estate leader? You get Logan Boyce. Logan, welcome to the podcast today. I'm so excited.
Carrie, thanks so much. Thanks so much for having me. I'm super excited, and we're gonna have some fun.
We are, and we're gonna talk about all the things. Of course, we're gonna cover a little bit of AI, but first, tell me about your journey. Tell us a little bit about yourself for the listeners who've never met you before or haven't had the pleasure of seeing you on stage yet.
Yeah, it's kind of a big journey, right? I think I came from an interesting background where I experienced a lot of highs with my dad in real estate as well, but I also experienced the lows of, the Canadian government auditing everybody, and it's just getting ridiculous. And it was crazy back then. And so I got into real estate and didn't really take it too seriously until I got a coach and I started studying the art of selling and started really getting into the nitty gritty of selling and how all that works and how to influence and how to have an impact on somebody's life in a really positive way. So I got a coach, and I had the distinct pleasure of having a lot of really, really good mentors in my life. And then sure enough, right when I was starting to get some traction, the brain tumor was discovered in my head. And it was a long 6 years of waiting for the operation because it wasn't growing. And when it did grow, man, I got to tell you, there's nothing. And this is after I'm married. I have 2 beautiful daughters. All of those moments were amazing moments in my life. Unfortunately, they're really hard to compare against waking up post brain surgery and being like, I'm alive. That was the greatest, most euphoric moment of my entire life. And it's the reason for it is because I got to be alive for my daughter's birth, my other daughter's birth, my wedding. All of that stuff was able to happen because, and the enjoyment of that life got to happen because of everything that had happened with the brain tumor removal. But I'm super happy. No motor malfunctions, no mental malfunctions whatsoever. The guys did a great job. So every year we do a huge casino night to benefit them. This year we donated over 20,000. Next year I got on camera and said we're doing 40. Yeah, we got to do 40 next year.
Yeah. Talk about giving you a new lease on life.
Yeah.
I feel like what goes through your head when you meet not necessarily even just real estate agents, but anybody who is just, really, negative and just getting in their own way of their life. How do you process? How do you not just slap everybody in the back?
That's a great question. First of all, really good self-control. No, but I think everyone's kind of shaped by their beliefs to a certain extent. And I think if you think that life's really hard, well, guess what? Life's going to be really hard. And if you have a belief that life is fun and life's a gift, you're going to act differently in your day-to-day kind of situations that get presented to you on a regular basis. So I think it's different people have different beliefs. And as a coach and as a mentor to a lot of people here in my real estate team, it's my job to kind of show them what could be done and what can happen. And I do that by leading by example to a certain extent.
Yeah. And okay, so what does your business look like, your real estate business look like right now? So tell everybody where you are.
Yeah.
What does your organization look like?
Yeah. So based out of Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and we're at about 20 agents right now in the team with EXP. So my actual organizational downline is just shy of 200. So we've kicking ass in a lot of different areas, and the real estate team is awesome. I love it because it's not a huge moneymaker for me as a business, but it really, really fills my bucket when it comes to giving back and that contribution that I focus on so much. So I'm able to just pour into people. I do training twice a week. I run the team meeting, and so I'm able to kind of contribute to other people's growth, which really, really fires me up. I'm able to show them like, hey, this is how you can buy property. This is how you can expand your wealth and all of this fun stuff. And I do that kind of, I was on another podcast joking around about how it's kind of on consignment. Like I coach people monthly and they pay money every single month to be coached by me. But if you're part of the real estate team, you get it for free. And I'm just going to pour into you with no expectation of anything in return. And it's just kind of on consignment. Hopefully it's all going to work out. Right. Yeah. But so I have that. I also own part of a coaching business in the United States called Elite Real Estate Systems. That's based out of Omaha, Nebraska. One of my first mentors, Jeff Cohn, and I both kind of really built that thing from where it was just a few years ago. And now it's absolutely huge, and having a lot of fun there, just coaching team leaders how to exit production, because that's what I did about 6 years ago. Is I took a step out of production to not be in competition with the people that are in my organization. So got the real estate team, got the coaching. I have property management now because I have, a bunch of different doors that I have to manage, and I didn't want to do that. So I started a property management company to empower somebody in my close circle of friends to help me run that business. And then I also have a flipping and investing company as well. So it's all real estate related. I just, how many arms can I put on this octopus?
And you said something really interesting. I think there's a misconception about having a real estate team. I think that top producers, and not even top producers, their aspirations are all around building a team because they think it's going to make them multimillionaires. And, for all of the team leaders that I've spoken to, that just isn't the case. They've all told me, well, I made more money when I was solo. And right. You have to really, really love people and want to mentor people and help people to be a team leader. And maybe, do you think that that's why most teams fail?
Yeah. And also, I don't think they're running them properly. I can tell you from really hands-on experience that almost nobody in the province of Quebec, save and except for a couple of great teams, if you're listening, who you are. But if there are some people that run it well, but the majority of people really don't run a team very well. It's done very selfishly. I'll give you an example. So all of my lead sources, which are all scrubbed with AI, so all of them come in and it's all distributed based on a day that somebody has kind of like office hours where they come in and they receive the leads. There is no favoritism whatsoever who gets that lead. Whereas there's a lot of teams where it's like, if it's a super hot lead, the team leader will take it and run with it, or their brother or their sister or their wife or their girlfriend will get it. And it's just, that's bad. People are not going to stay for that. Like, one of the best quotes that Jeff Cohn ever gave to me was, he says, it's your job as a leader to empower people who follow you to be just like you. So if you can do that, and if I make a world big enough for somebody to join my team and feel like they can grow into that world, as long as that world is big enough, they're not going anywhere. They're going to stick around for the long haul. But if that world is too small for them, they will leave.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. So you have 20 agents. How are you feeding them? Tell me, what are your main lead sources?
Yeah, so pretty much all of it is either Facebook or pay-per-click leads. So the interesting thing is, in Quebec, we don't have an open IDX at all. So everything is closed. So we've had to get really creative with our ads, like incredibly creative. So it's bad in a way where I wish we could just slap up a follow-up boss with YLOPO or a Boomtown site or any of these types of things, but they just won't work with us. They just won't work with us. Yeah, it's really terrible.
So creative with your ads. I've built AI tools that do just that perform better than the top marketing agency that you could hire.
Oh, and we've been through a lot of marketing agencies that have delivered less than stellar results.
So are you using AI in that process at all yet?
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. So we have people, because one of the problems that we had was actually something that we started calling agent fatigue. So we were bringing in a crap ton of leads, and we're like, oh my God, look how many sales we're getting. But the lead cost was so low, which we thought was the metric to track, right? Like, look, we're only paying $2.50 for a lead. That's insane. We must be winning. The problem is we were converting at, a relatively low percentage point, which, because, there's always Daffy Duck at hotmail.com and all that kind of stuff, bad numbers, et cetera, et cetera. But also it was just the amount of time it took for one of these leads to close was astronomically long. So that we started tracking how many call attempts per closed transaction had to occur for that lead. And it was just insanely high. So we're like, man, if we could just get something that's a little bit further down the funnel, or get a system to get them a little bit further down the funnel, then have the agent or the broker, because in Quebec we call ourselves brokers. If we can then have the people come in and it's half the amount of time, man, that would be huge. So we started having the leads come in, those same leads that are really cheap, they immediately start having a conversation with AI. So we dabbled with doing that within Go High Level, and I didn't love the conversation AI in Go High Level. I ended up doing just a back and forth, a zap. So just a zap that initiates the conversation. And then when a new one comes in, it's a separate zap that continues the conversation. And then setting up a follow-up step that says, if like having AI read the entire transcript, and only when AI deems it's qualified does it spit it to the CRM, which was pretty fun.
What other ways are you using AI in your business?
That's probably the number one way. We have also, when somebody calls in on certain signs, it goes to an AI representative that then directs the call, because we just found that agents, unfortunately, were not picking up the phone, which was so frustrating.
Wild, right?
I know, it's insane. And to be honest, like even the people that did pick up, it wasn't necessarily the people that we were super excited about picking up. So we really want, if they're calling about a specific area, we know which agents on the team work in what areas, and we've programmed the AI to know all of that. So that was obviously a big, huge project to undertake. That and the scrubbing, we've dabbled with outbound AI, but I've had no success with that.
Do you mean the AI callers or the text bots?
No, the text bots are amazing. I've done Kiss of Life situations where they, just try and, because we've got 40,000 people in our database or something like that. So we've done Kiss of Lives to them occasionally. That's what we call them. It's just like a start a new conversation. Same thing, only if they're qualified does the AI then respit it back out to the CRM. But it's that went super, super well. But when we tried to implement, I think it was for a while, this was like a year and a half ago. You familiar with Air AI?
Yes, I am. Yeah. So they were the very first voice calling AI on the market. I feel like I looked at them around the same time, about a year and a half ago, and I just felt that it wasn't there yet.
It was so close. I was so excited. I was like, yes, this is totally going to work. And it didn't. Anyway, it's so close. And I still believe that. I think give all the systems another 6 months, maybe a year, and it'll be so fast. The problem with me is just the little delays in the conversation, that it's just a dead giveaway.
Now, I have opinions around voice calling AI. So I have pretty strong beliefs around that, which probably surprise most of my listeners, because I am like the AI person. I'm the AI expert for real estate. But I believe that if somebody's going to pick up the phone and have a conversation, then we owe it to them to be a human. That's
I totally
just
agree.
how I'm a huge advocate of the bots and the texting, because there is a market for that. There is, this middle point before people are ready to get on a phone call, but yet still want to, dip their toes in the water and get information or see who they're talking to. You know what I mean? So yeah, I have pretty firm opinions on that. For real estate, at least. Maybe some other industries, it's a little bit easier for me to swallow. Also, I think that there's going to be a point where there's going to be some heavy regulations around it as well.
Oh, 100%. It's just a matter of time.
When you use it, are they disclosing that they're AI?
That's a good question. So in the text bot, it says that they're an assistant. They don't say virtual assistant. They probably should, or they should say AI assistant. I haven't done that yet, but to be honest, I haven't looked at my AI systems now in probably 2 months.
So I think you should disclose that this is Logan's AI or the team's AI, because I feel like being an agent using AI at a high level is a hot commodity for
I totally agree.
sellers right now. And I think it would drive more sales, to be honest.
So I teach all of my agents. I tell them, hey, when you get on the phone with them and you say, hey, you had a conversation with our assistant, I always tell them it's AI.
Yes.
100%. Be like, isn't that cool? And they're gonna be like, what? No way. And that's just, it's notching up in expertise. You know, you're either going to notch up with rapport, and that's your job to get to know them and get to know their motivation and all of that fun stuff. But then you got to notch up in expertise and show them that, you know, you're the shit.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Now, Logan, everybody, Logan is also a speaker. I saw him speak for the first time. I feel like it was in November of last year. And it was very powerful. I was very impressed. Now EXPCon Canada is coming. Are you going to be in Montreal?
Yep. I live here, so I should be. No, yeah, I'm going to be, I'm definitely going to be there. I'm on a panel, I think on day 3, I think.
Oh, I love that. So I will definitely see you next week. I'm bringing my husband with me. So you're going to meet
awesome.
him. He's a legend in his own mind. No, he's legendary in EXP. So
that's awesome.
He's not even an agent. People like him more than me. So I'm going to introduce you to him for sure. But okay, I got some questions for you. So let's say that everything resets. You have no connections, no brand, just your brain, thank goodness, right? And your hustle. And you are dropped into a new city where you don't know anybody, and you have $1,000 in your pocket and a phone. What is your plan to build exactly like your business back to the point where it is now?
Okay. So $1,000, I think probably would go to set of basic business cards. You don't need super fancy ones to start out. Basic business cards and a set of signs. That's probably going to take up like 3/4 of your $1,000 right there. Right. After that, hopefully you have just enough for 1 month of Mojo Dialer. Hopefully. If you can scrounge together that little bit extra, whatever, panhandle a little bit, you got to do what you got to do, right? Get that extra $50, subscribe to Mojo, and then just rip. So, and then all you have to do is get obsessed with sales, get obsessed with everything to do with sales, mirror and matching, tonality, people's basic needs. Basically, read how to win friends and influence people, implement that at as high a level as you possibly can, and just cold call all day, every day. Within a week of cold calling, post reading books like that, you're probably going to have 4, maybe 6 appointments under your belt, of which 2 of them will sign. Now, it means you're going to have to tell your landlord at that time, like, hey, dude, it's going to be a month. Like, you got to give me a month, because you're not going to close right away unless you're super lucky. So you are going to have to become friends with your landlord and friends with your telecommunication company and all that, because you're saying, listen, dude, you got to give me 60 days here. But aside from that, it's all about cold calling. And I know that's not the answer that I bet a lot of listeners are really excited to hear. But at the end of the day, guys, it's like hard work beats anything going on in here all day, every day. You know, I've coached some people that are mega personalities, man. They're amazing. They're huge personalities and they do great. That's awesome. But their work ethic is crap. And I want to shake them. I want to say, man, if you had this guy's work ethic, who's got a personality of a doorknob, you'd be making $2 million a year. But meanwhile, the guy who's got little to no personality, but he's a grinder, man. He's just showing up every day. He's the first one in, last one out type of thing. He's showing up every single day. He's going to make just as much, if not more money than the person with the big personality that thinks that they can do it, like all the people on Selling Sunset and all that kind of crap. Hard work beats talent all the time, every day.
Yeah. And speed. This is something that people don't talk about. And that's a major factor in what you're telling people to do right now. Speed is a major factor in success.
Right.
So being able to do things faster than anybody else. And don't worry if you're not good at whatever you're doing. You'll get good real fast. Why? Because you're doing 30 times the amount of anybody else.
Exactly.
Which means that you're going to get better quicker.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not going to suck forever.
It's that weird thing that a lot of, I find, new agents get involved in, where they go, oh, well, I did it for 2 days and it doesn't work. And I'm like, but you didn't even give yourself a chance to get good at it. I'm reminded of this horrible situation once where I was coaching this guy, and I was coaching what I was good at, which was making calls, cold calling. So we were calling expireds, we were calling for sell by owners, we were calling just neighborhood calls, and he wasn't very good at it, but then again, he wasn't very consistent at it either. He was only doing for maybe an hour a day. He tried it for 3 days and gave up. He came in the next day. He says, yeah, listen, I'm going to door knock. I'm better in person. I'm like, everyone is better in person. If I hear that again from an agent, it's going to drive me crazy, because everybody's better in person. All that means is you have to work harder to get in front of more people who are qualified. And you do that by picking up the phone or sending Instagram messages, sending Facebook messages. There's passive lead gen that you can do, but that's the icing on the cake. The actual batter is picking up the phone and hustling.
So I've actually just had an epiphany. It's very rare that I have a successful entrepreneur on this podcast that's built their real estate business purely on calls. Most of the people I have on my podcast have built a huge brand for themselves. They're using it in different ways. Marketing is huge for them. I wonder if I could help you build with AI an insane brand, where that would take your business, because now we have two sides of the spectrum.
Right.
I feel like I want to experiment with you. I just want to experiment with you.
I'll be your guinea pig any day of the week, Carrie. That's for sure. We're
going to talk in Montreal for sure.
Hell yeah. So, I'm super down.
For you, what is the dead giveaway that somebody that you meet, say they're applying to be on your team, or you're mentoring them, or you're coaching them, so that they aren't going to make it in the real estate industry?
Wow, super great question.
Coaching that they buy, right?
Yeah, that's a great question. There are two of my favorite questions when interviewing somebody. Is it's kind of all around that same basic question that most interviewers ask, which is, tell me about a time where you won, right? But I think successful people tend to be successful. That there might be drawbacks or setbacks that they have, but in general, winners win. It sounds very brash, but it's true. So what I want to know is, are they winners? And then following to that is, can they be coached? Because sometimes winners have this I know it already attitude, and that does not work for real estate. I'm sure you'll agree.
Yeah.
So anybody that comes in with the attitude of, oh yeah, I know that. Oh yeah, I know that too. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I know that. No, I'm not there for that. I want to see somebody that's eager to learn. So what I'll ask is, I'll ask them my favorite question, which is, tell me about a time where you were involved in a semi-professional or professional activity, such as, you were in an NCAA basketball, or you played hockey growing up, or you played soccer at a competitive level. Give me something you were competitive at growing up and tell me about that. And what I'm trying to dive into is, how were they coached? What kind of memories do they have of the person that was coaching them? Because at any kind of semi-professional level of anything, whether it's chess or soccer or fencing, you have a coach. So then it leads to my questions of, hey, how was that coach? How did that person get to you? How did they get you to perform at your best? Because anybody that's willing to learn and implement is going to be great. That's for sure. But you have to be, it starts with the work, and then it goes to, are you coachable?
And everybody has a coach. Like, coaching is not for somebody starting out in an industry. That is not, I have a coach. My coach has coaches.
Yep.
Their coaches it just gets insane the farther up the line you go. I know people that have a whole team of coaches.
Right. And that's really common in the athletics, right? You look at somebody like Novak Djokovic, who's been a freaking monster on the tennis court for how many years? He's got a team of people. He's got his dietitian. He's got his personal trainer. He's got his weightlifting coach. He's got his swing coach. He's got all of these things, a huge team of people, just so he can perform and win championships. So at the end of the day, it's just, notice how when you said you got $1,000, I didn't say hire a coach, because you don't do it right away. You do it after you've learned a little bit, so that your questions get a little bit better and your ability to learn gets a little bit quicker. But I would say probably by month 3, you've got a couple of sales under your belt, hopefully month 4, 5, 6, you've got a handful of sales, you have a little bit of money set aside. That's when you want to say, okay, how do I get this from where I am to where I want it to be? Let's find somebody that's done it already. And that's kind of the whole idea of a coach, is you find somebody that's done it so that you can say, hey, you've done it already. Where did you screw up? Because I want to know where I'm going to screw up before I go and screw it up.
Yeah, absolutely. And it just shows me how little people know about success when they get very defensive about, thinking about hiring a coach. It's like, it's almost like they get defensive about it. Like, I don't need a coach. Right? It just shows you how little they know about success and how little, and that they aren't really top performers, because
I think it's somebody who's growth oriented or very into growth versus somebody that's not, right? Yeah. Somebody who I would never recommend to give me a call to have me coach them for team building would be somebody that's super content where they're at. Yeah. Like somebody who's got a team of 5 and they're happy. They don't want to grow. They don't want to leverage any more of their time. They don't want to find out new ways of generating, marketing service agreements or whatever they want to call that these days. They don't want to learn anything about that. Then do not call me, right? But somebody who's wanting to learn and wants to grow, somebody who wants to learn more about AI and how to do that and wants a consultant to come in and implement strategies, they need to reach out to somebody like you, because that's the only way that they're going to grow. Otherwise, it's going to take them 3 years to do what you could do in a month.
Right.
Absolutely. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's compressing time.
Yeah, when you're hiring a coach, you're buying back your time and you're buying experience, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Essentially. So tell me a little bit about your musical background. Like, tell me about this.
It's funny, man. I grew up and I really wanted to play guitar. My mom and dad had an acoustic guitar and I wanted to play it. And, cause I was growing up and like 11 years old listening to Nirvana and I want to be just like Kurt Cobain. And so I was like, Dad, I really want to play guitar. I want to play guitar. And he's like, no, you're not allowed. You got to start with piano. So he forced me to start with piano, which I really appreciate now that I'm older. But at the time I'm like, God damn it. I don't want to play piano. It's for nerds. No, I really love it now. But yeah, so I started on piano. Then as soon as I could possibly swing it, I moved to guitar and met some really great people who now all work with me. My entire band from back in the day now works with me in some capacity. John, who is my rhythm guitarist and lead guitarist, he's the number one salesperson on my real estate team. The drummer is the co-owner of my property management company, and my bassist works, or my former bassist, I should say, works with me in the investment and flipping company. So all of these guys are still very much a part of my life. But it's funny, I asked this question to some people on a podcast a couple of weeks ago. I said, how have your leadership skills changed over the years? And I think one of the main things for me was that I actually got kicked out of my own band when I was like 18 years old, or 19 or 20 or something like that. But I got kicked out of my own band because I was actually a total dick. Back in the day, I was not a nice person to be around because I was just so focused on the goal and I didn't give a rat's ass about anybody's feelings or how anyone thought about me, and which has its time where you need to bust that out, but it can't be your default setting, right? And I learned that the hard way because I got booted out of my own band and it taught me a lot of humility. And yeah, but it was fun, man. We toured a lot of Eastern Canada. We went from Montreal, we toured as far as London, Ontario, and we toured with some pretty great bands. It was all in the metal genre because I was very much into that. Not like exclusively screaming because I wasn't really into that, but screaming with some singing. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I think it really shaped my ability to work with people. But my sales ability, I think, really came from my improv background. Really? So yeah, the ability to think on your feet and just bam. I've got the answer. Oh, and if I don't, I'll tell you with absolute confidence that I don't have the answer, but you're going to feel confident that I'm going to go and find it. Improv is like the greatest thing you could possibly study if you're getting into sales. Like go join an improv class or something like that. Being able to think on your feet, because so often I coach people and they just freeze up on the phone. But if they can't freeze up because they know they just got to keep it going and they're trained to do that, they'll win every time.
That's me. I got to tell you, I am one of those agents who would never get on a live role-playing call because I was I wouldn't even call in to see what it was like because I was afraid that somebody would ask me something and I just was not about that. So one of the first tools that I created, Logan, this is hilarious, is an AI, it's a GPT that is trained on, it understands Alex Hormozy's whole sales cycle and strategy.
Okay, cool.
Okay, and frameworks. And it'll ask you, okay, you can ask it for scripting for any scenario, whether it's, calling leads or just having tough conversations with your existing clients, like price drops and stuff like that. And it will ask you questions about them. So if you know anything about them, it can help the whole scripting process. But using it on your phone, you can go into AVM mode, advanced voice mode, and you can role play with it in real time.
That is so cool. I love that.
So that was one of the first solutions. Like, I build solutions, and obviously I started with what I would find useful. So that's funny you said that, because I'm that person. I am the person who, like, there's so many EXP, there's so many calls that you can, dial in on and do some role playing with some absolute killers. Okay. These people are just murdering this. They're killing it, and learn from the best. But, there are a lot of agents who are terrified to even show up. So,
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a real thing. That agent is me. Okay. So you're a big fan of music. So am I. I'll share mine. I'm going to ask you, what is your do you have a go-to song that you play while you're on the way to just get a listing sign, and you're winning this one? What's that song?
Man, it really depends on the day. Lately, this is going to be embarrassing because there's such new metal guys now, but lately it's been Bow Down by I Prevail. So it's really heavy, but it's it jacks me up super hard. What's the other one? Song by Protest the Hero, Yellow Teeth, is probably one of my another go-to one that just jacks me up a ton. And then the all-time classic, probably my favorite song pretty much of all time, is The End of Heartache by Killswitch Engage. That's another really, really great one. And I knew you had a little bit of hard rock in you, because when I came out to do the talk at Jennifer Jones's thing, I came out to Lincoln Park and you were like, yeah, dude, it was awesome. I was like, yes, somebody gets it. She gets it.
I totally get it. But what's even more funny? I loved Pearl Jam and Nirvana and Soundgarden and
hell yeah.
Oh my goodness, Guns N' Roses and Metallica and Megadeth. I grew up to all of that. I'm a concert girl.
Nice.
I've always, until prices got a little too insane during COVID. Before that, I was front row, third row, center.
Nice.
5 concerts a year. That's how much I love music. But it's hilarious because what my go-to song is for when I'm...
Tell me.
It's anything by ABBA.
No. That's hilarious.
Other end of the spectrum. It's
that's so funny.
It's such hype music. Listen to any ABBA song. It's literally it just hypes you right up.
It totally does. That's not what I was expecting.
I know, right? I know.
It's too funny.
That's crazy. Now my gym music, that's another story. But yeah, I took my husband to his first concert. Guess what I took him to?
Tell me.
Rage Against the Machine. His first concert, I took him to Rage.
His mind must have been blown.
Yeah. And we had floor seats.
Oh my God.
So just imagine. Okay, so do you know who's coming to Toronto in September? Is System of a Down.
That's going to be insane.
So I'm going to get tickets for that as well.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Right.
That's going to be so sick.
Okay, so final question. What is the one tech tool that you cannot live without?
Zapier. Did not even blink. It has to be Zapier, because without that, nothing works.
Yeah. Okay, so guys, for those of you listening and don't know what Zapier is an automation platform that will connect, that allows your apps and your websites to talk to each other, that builds automation. And I got to tell you, this is something that I teach. AI built right into Zapier or their custom GPT that Zapier built. It will build out entire automations for you just from you describing what you want. Okay. This is a game changer for your business. And this is one of the most sick ass capabilities of AI in my mind, is the ability of AI to help you build automations, because Zapier has been around for a long time. And those of you who don't know, I have no tech skills. I'm not great with computers. Surprise, surprise. It's been a struggle. I've been using Zapier for about 15 years. But, up until the AI components were built into the platform, I would struggle with mapping stuff out. Like, I'm not going to lie. And the GPT will even help you map. And if you don't know what that is, just look it up, because Zapier will change your whole game. Imagine having your longest workflows of repetitive tasks just automated, so that when one event happens, it triggers another 20 events, like a checklist. Just gets magically done for you by these little elves that live in Zapier world. That's what Zapier is.
It's fantastic. I literally use it for basically everything. So we did are you familiar with EOS by any chance?
No.
Okay, so books like Traction, Rocket Fuel, Get a Grip, all these things, they're all written by this one guy, and I think his dad helped write it, but it's all about this entrepreneurial operating system. And one of the things they teach is to do level 10 meetings every single week. And one of the things we did was our quarterly retreat, which is myself and the leadership team for the team, which is myself, John, and Alex. We go away for the entire day and we just deep dive into, how to make this business better, how to make it more streamlined, et cetera, create goals for the quarter, all that fun stuff. So we isolated everything, all the tasks that we do on a regular basis, and like more than half of them were automatable. So we did this like a couple of years ago. And now with one form submission, which we have to do anyways for tracking, let's say sales, one form submission and everything is done. And when I say everything, this is how everything I mean. It even spits out into our group WhatsApp. Congratulations to agent's name for sale at address. It was this kind of lead. Everything is automated. And I'm telling you guys, like, I'm a psycho, so I'll spend 10 hours at night, many nights of the week, figuring this out. Mm-hmm. But don't compress your time. Call Carrie, for God's sake. Compress your time. You don't want this problem. I did it because I'm a psycho nerd, but for God's sake, call someone to help.
I love that. I kind of want to be a part of your mastermind next time. I need to go and be in the room and see what these guys are doing.
It's fun, man. I got taught to just list out all of your processes in different individual sticky notes of what happens, what do you have to do, then what happens, all the rest of it. And then you can kind of see where the automations need to take place. But if you don't even know, just throw it all into the Zapier AI, like you said.
It's so great. You can, if you don't even know if it's something you can automate, just ask the GPT and it will say, yeah, and this is how you would do it. Would you like to do it for me? Click this button and log into your Zapier account for me so I can build this out for you. It's getting easier than that. And guys, this is all laid out in what I teach. So if you have any questions, Logan's right. Just message me. But
compress your time, guys. I got one more question for you though, Carrie, before we sign off. So I found whenever I do different projects and I get into certain things, you're super into AI. So now I got to ask you, what's your favorite thing that you've built? What's your number one thing, if you're like that, you're really excited about right now?
Okay. So I use deep research to do a deep dive into the top CEO, CMO, CFO, and COOs in the world. And what sets them apart from everybody else? How do they think? How do they problem solve? Whoa, real deep dive. It compiled a whole report for me. And then I built my own custom GPT that is this group of experts that can now advise me on any area of my business.
That is so cool.
Drop. Yeah, I'm all about super high level stuff for my own business. Obviously, everybody knows, I built my business with AI. But now, and obviously, I talk a lot about on stage about how, I hire down an AI, not humans, right? So I don't hire humans down. I bring an AI to do all of the work under me. But now, with the advancements in AI, we can now hire up in AI, which means we can, hire AI as our COO. We can hire AI and create these agents, right? We can create entire companies. And that's what I'm super excited about, because now I've got this great multi-million-dollar company, and now I'm going to scale it to, 100 times that. And I'm going to use AI at every step. So that's what I'm doing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. How about you? What do you, that's your favorite thing? Would it still be the lead thing?
I think probably the thing I'm most excited about right now is actually it's going to be split into two. One of the things that's really cool is we're launching an app for our team.
Okay.
where anybody in the team, you can just download this app and it's got all the resources there. It's got all the manuals there. It's got all the scripts there. It's got everything you could possibly need right built into the app. It's going to have custom GPTs right inside the app as well, which I think is super cool. And I never thought this was possible, but all of it was coded with AI.
Okay. Did you
Every line of code.
use Lovable?
No, I didn't use Lovable. I used, hold on, pull it up right now. Should probably know this by heart, but I don't. It's it is Bolt.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of no code AI platforms that can help you build websites, apps, tools. Like this is the day and age that we are living in. Now,
it's insane.
Just because everybody can do it, I don't think everybody should, because it takes a real operational and systematic mind to create. You still have to like be good at the systems that are built into the AI. So,
well, and it's never going to spit out something perfect. And if you don't know how to read the code a little bit, like I grew up with that a little bit, so I can go through the code and be like, oh, there it is. There's the error. Whereas if you're going to spend 10,000 years building this on your own, if you don't get help. But so I think that's probably one of my favorite things. And the other thing recently is I've kind of started steering into the skid with ads in my market, where I'm excited about the creative process. I used to be really negative about it. Like, we can't do this, we can't do that. But now I'm just excited about all the different types of ads we can put out and generate excitement. So we got one set up for Canadian grants, where it has AI automatically research based on their form that they fill out, what grants they might be qualified for, and then texts it to them. So I think that's super cool. And just like little things to get creative about. I'm just excited about that process. I enjoy kind of nerding out occasionally.
I love that, because I think that we should be creating AI tools and workflows that our our clients can use, but also using them as lead magnets. So that's exactly what you're talking about, right? Building lead magnets, that are AI for the consumers. And I think that's great. You're doing all the right things, Logan, all the right things. So I can't wait to talk more about AI with you, because
me too.
It's rare that I actually get in front of people that can talk about it and are building it. You know what I mean? So I'm excited.
I'm nowhere near the scale that you're at, but I'm very excited to continue this conversation too in just a few days in Montreal.
I know, I'm going to see you soon. So we'll definitely have to plan a lunch. Thank you so much for coming on today, Logan. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And you are a great guest. And if you guys get a chance to see Logan on stage, definitely go and do that. And thank you.